Welcome to segment 2 of Mastering the Listing Presentation. If you have not checked out the first segment, which is the preparation to the listing appointment, make sure to check out that video ASAP, whether before or right afterwards. Let's dive into the presentation. So this video is going to take place right as the door has been opened and they now see you standing in front of the door. So remember, just to reiterate, you're going to make sure that you have got high energy. Hi, how are you? Again, you're introducing yourself just like they're introducing yourself. Hi, how are you? Henry, we were speaking on the phone. Great to finally meet you face to face. You walk in the front door. First and foremost, make sure you ask if you got to take your shoes off because you want to be as polite as possible. Don't ever assume you can just walk around their house with shoes on, especially if it was rainy or anything else. Make sure you even insinuate, you're like, hey, you mind if I just take off my shoes? I don't want to track around mud or water around their house. Is that okay? Make sure everything's a question. This is their house. This is not your house. You don't want to assume anything. Okay? Next thing that you want to make sure you do right away is that you want to start guiding the entire presentation. From the second you walk in, you are in charge. Do not let them take charge. So first you're going to ask them about the shoes. Next you're going to say, do you mind if I also put my things down at the kitchen table? Money in signing contracts. If you want to make money and sign contracts, that happens at the kitchen table, not at the couch, not in the living room. The kitchen table is where contracts get signed. So make sure you're paying attention to that. I typically used to have a notebook or a pad folio or a clipboard so I can take notes while we walk around. Sometimes I even just use my phone, but I make sure I set the expectation. I let them know what I am doing. I'm just gonna be taking some notes on my phone, so please don't think I'm ignoring you. Just want to make sure you know what I'm doing here, okay? Now, when you're walking around the home, again, you're in charge. This is a time period when you're walking around this house. Now listen, you got anywhere between 5 and sometimes 30 minutes. If it's a big enough house, 5 to 30 minutes to build rapport. Let's talk about exactly what this means. You're building connection because this is the period of time where it's not just about real estate. This is about, let me get to know this family. Let me get to know this person that I'm walking around their home with. You're a complete stranger and you want to start building rapport. Who are the people who live here? Ask them about their story, how long they've been there for, why they're motivated to sell the home, why they're interested in selling the home. Sometimes you don't want to say, so why are you motivated to sell your house? You know, sometimes it can be a trigger word, but so tell me, why are you interested in selling the home? Tell me, how long have you been here? Wow, that's a long time. Have your kids been going here a long time? Did you grow up here? Where did you grow up? Tell me about this house. You know, why'd you end up buying this house in the first place? You want to build rapport, make it less about the entire process and more about them and what's going on in their life. Did you grow up around here? You know, what made you choose this home? You know, why did you choose this town? Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Oh, that's interesting, amazing, tell me more. Right? That's what this is about. It's building rapport, building connection with the person you're with. And again, listen, you got 5 to 30 minutes at most sometimes here to build this rapport. So you don't want to just look down, take notes the entire time. You're not building connection. The whole purpose of this is to build connection. Now, you've been building connection for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes now. Now it's important to make sure, again, you're still in control. You want to bring it back to the kitchen table. It's like, all right, fantastic. I've got all the information that I need at this point. Let's walk back to the kitchen table so this way we can discuss the following information. Cool. Right? You want to stay in charge because if you're guiding, you're in charge. If they're guiding, hey, okay, so next we're going to do this. And by the way, I've had some very controller clients, high D's on the DISC assessment, who are very controlling, who will try to control the conversation, try to control the appointment, and I'm in charge. You want to gain back control. He's like, well, why don't we start discussing some numbers? That sounds like a great idea. So why don't we do this? Let's go to the kitchen table. This way we can discuss some numbers at the table. So you could take what they're saying and just make it where it was your idea. Make it you're in charge. You want to keep control. Okay? Now you're going back to the table where you're going to start running some numbers. Let's talk about this. A simple thing you can do is this. You're going to take out your phone and you can just open up Zillow. Don't make this complicated. You're going to educate them on the correct way to use Zillow. Very beginning of my career, years and years ago, I was with this woman who was sort of my mentor, we call it 7-ish years ago. And what she would do, print out MLS sheets, and they would give this to the client. I've even seen agents do this today. I'm like, what are you doing? They would print out MLS sheets of comparables and say, these are the most comparable homes to yours. What I ended up seeing happen numerous times that they would go, well, what about the house next door? What about this house? What about this house? What about this house? And they would bring up houses that they never printed out. And now you look kind of silly at the appointment because you didn't bring up all these houses. Think about it. These people live in this neighborhood. You don't. They probably know the neighborhood better than you do, especially if you're at the beginning of your career. And even now, some people have educated me on a neighborhood. I don't know if you noticed, but like the house 3 doors down sold because of XYZ reason. They were going through a divorce. No one knew about this. That's why it sold at the price that it did. Okay, you didn't know that. You're just coming in with a comparable. So again, like sometimes if you're going to a listing appointment at 30 minutes away, 40 minutes away, you don't really know that neighborhood too well. Don't think that you know the neighborhood better than them. That's their mentality. They're going to think that they know the neighborhood better than you. So just make sure you're just paying attention to the people that you're at the appointment with. You want to pay attention to the fact that like most of the time, you're going to want to flex their intelligence, flex their knowledge of the market, especially in their neighborhood. So what I like to do is instead of printing out comparables, what I'd like to do nowadays is that I have my phone and I say, listen, so here's all the homes that have recently sold in the last 90 days, 6 months, 12 months, obviously depending on how many comps are starting to come up. This is everything that's sold in your neighborhood. Now, we're going to go through home by home and we're going to see which ones are actually the most comparable. I'll guide them to make sure they're kind of choosing the ones that I want them to choose, because obviously if there's a house that's, you know, that ended up selling for $200,000, $300,000 more than what their house is probably worth, because I'll run numbers beforehand, what I'll do is this, I'll be like, listen, tell me why you really feel like that house is super comparable to yours. Or I'll say like at the end, once they have a couple comps and maybe they choose one that's completely extraneous, like, okay, well, listen, out of the comps that you chose, let's choose the best 3 that are most comparable, most similar to your home in every fashion. And again, like I'll try to guide them. I was like, listen, you know, this house here, do you really think that's comparable as you think the other homes are? And you can shake your head, right? Shake your head no, and they will most of the time agree with you, right? And again, if you have this other house, you think it's very comparable. So do you think this house is pretty comparable to yours? Yes, right? Like, so you can kind of guide them in where you need them to be. I like to do everything live so that they don't think I'm cutting comparables, because this happens a lot. Next, when you're going through the numbers, you're gonna allow them to choose, you're gonna allow them to decide on the 3 comparables. Okay, great. Now, I wanna tell you that these houses were listed, and by the way, a lot of you are gonna be like, well, Zillow doesn't have this most accurate information, Zillow this, Zillow that. I'm telling you right now, I've sold hundreds and hundreds of homes the last few years. Zillow is about as accurate as a MLS is gonna be. By the way, on occasion, yes, if Zillow isn't as accurate as I know it can be, I'll just pull out my MLS app and I'll do everything on the app. Again, you could use Realtor.com, you can use all the other software. Whatever you use, don't overthink this. Guess what is that? Keep it simple, stupid, right? Whatever it is, keep it simple. So when I go through these numbers, now you say like, okay, now let's see where these properties listed at. Well, they listed at 500, 505, and 499.9. Where do you think you should list your home? If you're asking a powerful question, you should ask it and then shut up. One of the most common mistakes, which I have another video that's coming out talking about the most common mistakes, but I'll reiterate some of it now. Realtors talk too much. So I think it's my first point in that video. Realtors talk too much. When you ask a powerful statement, you want to shut up and let them think. Let them think and then let them answer. Because listen, you're a consultant. You're not an engineer, okay? Engineers solve problems. As a consultant, you're going to ask powerful questions that allow them to solve their own problems. Is that making sense? You're here to really educate. When you're going through the numbers, you're going to allow them to kind of basically answer their own questions for them. So it's like, okay, based on this information here, where do you feel like we should list the property today? Well, I think we should list it blank, blank, blank. Okay, great. We all know that sellers are going to want to list their properties way too high. 9 times out of 10, they always want to list it a little bit higher. Now listen, in this market, don't be afraid to take the listing. This market right now in 2022, while we're recording this video, it's still a good time to take listings at, I would say, nearly any price. I'm just being blunt here. However, I obviously would like to make sure I take a listing at the pricing that I would want to have, and you can do it like this. Let's talk about it. Well, let's just say, I think that they should list a property at $499. They want to list it at $550. Mr. Mrs. Seller, listen, you're in charge. Obviously, you are looking to hire a realtor because of a few reasons. One of them, I would imagine, would probably be consulting on price, right? And having my experience in this process. Now, through my experience, I've seen that pricing properties at $499 is most likely going to get you the best result in regards to the most offers, the highest offers that you're going to get, as well as the best terms. Are those things that you're looking for? Yes. Okay. Again, this is your home. However, again, I'm here to share my experiences. You've invited me to your home. In my experience, I feel like we should be priced somewhere between $479.9 to $499. Now, again, if you'd like to price it at $550, I completely understand. However, I'm just here to make sure you get the best result. Are you looking for the best result? Yes. Okay, great. So can we list it at $499 today? Yes. Now, if they say no, listen, try to get them down to $519.9, $509.9, $529.9. Maybe $550 is a little high, but see if you can scoot them down a little bit. And let's just say they're a stickler at their $550. Henry, I want $550. That's it. You know, again, the last realtor said he would take it for $550. We like you, but we want it at $550. John, no problem. Can we just come to one agreement? If the house does not sell, because on average right now, houses are selling in anywhere between a week and 3 weeks. If the house is on the market more than 21 days, can we agree to adjust the price accordingly? Like, listen, what I suggest is $499.9, maybe $419.9, wherever you can suggest. Okay? But have an agreement. This is their home. Stop acting like it's your house and you have that type of authority over them. Okay? You're a consultant. Don't misinterpret your position. You're a consultant, not the owner of the house. So if they want to price it a little bit high, okay. Just educate them as to why that might not be a perfect decision, right? The right decision in order to get the result that they want, but it doesn't make them stupid. So you don't make them wrong for doing that. If it's their home, if they want to try it, okay, no problem. You can educate them as to why they should choose differently. They choose differently, so be it. And then that's why I'll say, okay, no problem, John. Day 21, if your house isn't sold, you're not getting the offers you want, would you be open to having a conversation about adjusting the price to blank? Yes, we can have a conversation at that point. Okay, great. Would you mind if I put in the contract? I want to make sure you got, we're both on the same page. I just want you to think that I'm constantly pressuring you to lower the price because that's not my intention. You're hiring me to sell your home. I'm here to assist you in selling your home. So if the price isn't helping you or supporting in selling your home, we should adjust the price, correct? Perfect. If they're getting a little bit loosey-goosey, if they're trying to okay, thanks, whatever, and then you're going to end up leaving, you want to recap motivation. Make sure you keep going back to motivation, go back to motivation, go back to motivation, go back to motivation. What then looks like is this. When we were walking around, you told me you're looking to sell your home because of blank. You're looking to move to blank. You're looking to move to blank by blank. Well, John, again, when we were walking around, you're telling me you're looking to move to Florida. You were looking to move to Florida because you have family down there and you're looking to retire. And John, you told me you were looking to do this by July. We're recording this video right now in April. So it's okay, well, based on what you've told me, John, ideally you should have this house on the market within the next week or two. Does that align with your goals? Yes. Well, if they go no, well, we were thinking about listing the house in May, June, whatever. It's well, John, you told me you wanted to be in Boca Raton, Florida by July. And if we list the property in June, can you see where that might be an issue to get you there by July? Start painting a little bit of a picture. It's so in order to get you there by July, which, by the way, just curious, John, if you're there a little bit early, is that a problem for you? No? Okay, great. If it is a problem, then you can adjust the timelines. Listen, why don't we sign the agreement today? We can get photos done. This way the property can be listed by May 1st. This way you have all of May and June to make sure you're there by July. Does that make sense? Yes. Paint a picture. People don't conceptualize timeframes unless you can spell it out. What I'll do a lot of the time is I'll have a piece of paper and I will write out where we are at today is this date. You are looking to be moved in by when? Ask them the question. Let them tell you. I don't just assume. You said July, John, but when in a perfect world, when would you actually like to be moved in, closed on your next home? Well, okay, well, it's actually you want to be moved in and everything by June 15th. Okay, it's different than July. That's 2 weeks sooner. So anyways, you're going to condense the time frames. You're going to explain the time frames. You're going to be able to have them visualize the time frames right in front of them. You want to keep reiterating that motivation so you can get them to sign the contract with you today. And by the way, if you have any objections as to why you're not getting the listing signed, make sure you comment down below so I can answer all of your objections in the next coming videos. Last thing here is that, again, the sole purpose of why you confirmed, which is one of the things we talk about in the prep video of confirming the appointment, is that, again, you want to get the listing signed today. 2 questions you're going to ask very powerfully. Number 1, have you heard enough to make a decision? Have you heard enough to make a decision? Yes. By the way, you can say it by literally sliding the agreement in front of them with a pen on top of it. Have you heard enough to make a decision? Make it simple and just smile and nod. This one I use probably 80 to 90% of the time. So, John, would you like me to take photos this week or early next week? That's it. Keep it simple. He's well, probably later this week works best for us. Okay, great. It's a really easy way. It's okay, great. So we're going to probably do Friday. Great. Okay, all you have to do is sign here. Okay, great. Next steps for you in order to get us locked in for that time frame for your photography is for you to just sign here. If you want to say things like authorize the agreement instead of sign the contract, you can. But again, the close that I like to use best is just, John, would you prefer that we take photos this week or early next week? The listing presentation is something you're going to want to practice. Everything we talked about in this video and all the videos that go around this listing presentation have taken practice. I've been on thousands of listing presentations, and it's important to realize that the only reason why my conversion ratio has gone up over time is because I've practiced. I've practiced and I built a referral-based business. I have high conversion ratios for those reasons. Last thing I'm going to say to you, for those of you who really want to nail down these appointments, is if you are not asking for the business, closing for the business, getting that contract signed here and asking for it to be signed, I'm telling you right now, it's literally like going on a date and not kissing the person next to the end of the night. That's what you're doing. The appointment went well. The date went well. And you're just at the very end and you're looking each other in the eyes and you're starting to get that little twinkle. And then guess what? Bye. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time. What kind of appointment is that? What kind of date was that? And you're like, oh, that was weird, right? Close. You're at the appointment, they want you to close. If they've invited you into their home, they want you to close for the appointment. I hope this video helped, and guess what? There's still one more video to this segment to make sure you master listing presentation, because there's also a huge segment of the follow-through of everything that just occurred at your appointment. So make sure you look out for that next video sometime shortly. And again, if you want to work with me one-on-one, make sure you check out the coaching program down below in the comment sections below. Other than that, guys, I'm so appreciative of all of you. Make sure you give this a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.